Let's also get in now Mr. R. Rameseshan, who's Vice Chairman at Rashtriya E-Market Services Private Limited. Mr. Rameseshan, hi, good to have you as well. Agriculture is always given a lot of emphasis when it comes to policy making by the government, but we don't always see that full impact being passed through.
Well, there is, as you rightly said, there's been a lot of talk about investments in agriculture, but essentially the corporate sector is a little shy of actually putting the money where the mouth is, if you can use that, because of lack of policies, lack of direction, and everybody feels it's more of a government game. So unless we change this perspective that it's not a government game, there is money to be made in, there is investment to come in, we do have a problem. There is a disconnect between what we talk and what we actually see in the field.
Well, yes. I also want to bring your attention to ENAM. Well, that was started by PM an year and more back. Where are we on that now? Because the kind of numbers that were being discussed, we really are not onto that yet.
You see, on a conceptual basis, one market, one country, one market works well. But when you actually work it out in detail, there cannot be one market for the entire country, because we have certain commodities which are regional in nature, certain commodities which are national in nature. So we need to cater to a wide variety of markets. So unless we build the markets bottom up, we won't be reaching one country, one market scenario. So we are yet to scratch the surface, if I can use the word, but the ENAM initiative has to go down to the last village, look at mapping the commodity to the nearest market, and build a series of local markets on which the national market as ENAM sits in. I think that is a work they have to start off. It's just, I would say, the beginning. There's lots and lots more to be done now.
What are your expectations as well from budget this time around? Because the agri sector farmers have had some hardships from demonetization.
The demonetization has actually taken away a part of purchasing power at the rural level, and it's quite possible that it will spill over to the farm sector in terms of the area that could be brought in under cultivation, etc. So as a policy antidote, I would say that we must find ways of putting more cash, more money into the farmer's hands, either through an enhanced credit mechanism or by pumping in inputs in a certain way that cash does not affect his ability to actually get into the field. I think we need to get that right, and maybe the budget should address this more from a short-term perspective and also from a long-term perspective of building in the incentives.
Also, what does India need from agri, in sense of short-term measures, in sense of long-term measures as well? Because we understand that the seed and fertilizers is the need for the very near term, but infra is something that we keep pushing ahead when it comes to long-term incentives.
Basically, on a short-term perspective, it is a question of getting your logistics right, whether it is the pre-harvest stage or the post-harvest stage. And if you get your logistics right in terms of making available the inputs at the right time, and at the post-harvest stage making available a market for the farmer, you have cracked the short-term problem. But cracking a single year short-term problem actually has to be looked at from the long-term perspective, wherein the profile of agriculture is likely to change. With more people migrating out of agriculture into service sector, which is likely to happen. How the short term fuses itself into a long term, that change will have to be really guessed, that change will have to be addressed, and that is where the challenge is in terms of policy making. Very easy to say but quite difficult to implement, but we need to make a beginning somewhere.
Well, absolutely. On that positive note, Mr. Rameseshan, we will let you go.